Let's go to 5 headlines. All right, let's go to see what headlines we got here. Number 1, the DNC convention last night. We did our all-access watch party for that. Hopefully you were able to join. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to me, personally. I maintain, though, and I survived for 3 hours in one of the great feats of human endurance of all time. The big headline from the convention, I suppose, is that there was no real headline. They successfully avoided headlines, which I think is part of the point here. Certainly, that is the strategy of the Joe Biden campaign, is to not make it into the headlines. And I think they basically did that last night anyway. The entire focus of the convention really was, or at least last night, seemed to be that Joe Biden is a really nice guy, right? And that's why they told us he's a nice guy again and again and again and again and again. By my count, there were approximately 75 slow motion video montages, or at least felt like 75 slow motion video montages, piano music, and it just telling us that Joe's a nice guy. At one point, his grandchildren showed up to talk about his favorite flavor of ice cream and what toppings he likes. I'm not kidding. That's how vacuous this thing was. And then Joe Biden got up there at the end, and when I was half dead at that point, delivered a speech. All I could say is that the DNC is thanking God or Gaia or whoever, the divine spirit. Actually, they had their nun, their fake nun, give an invocation, and she prayed to the divine spirit. But anyway, whoever, they're thanking someone that the speech didn't have to be live. So I don't know how many takes it took to nail the speech, but the final product was not bad, much to my chagrin. No flubs, no gaffes, just a fine speech. I don't think anyone's going to remember it. I don't think anyone remembers it now, but it was okay. There were a few moments of cringe though, and I think probably the most extreme cringe came from this.
So what did you think about Kamala Harris's speech last night?
It was tremendous. I was so happy for her.
I know, me too. She was fabulous. I cannot wait to see her debate our current vice president, Mika Pince. Or is it Paints?
It's pronounced Ponce, I believe.
Oh, some kind of weird foreign name?
Yeah, not very American sounding.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Strongly. Well, thank you, Andrew. And please give my regards to the gang.
I will. They're right in the next room. Have a great night, Julia.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, all the comedy bits were about as effective as that. The comedy was so lame and bad that I almost thought I was that I was watching a Republican convention a few times. That's how bad it was. But then I remembered that I wasn't, because every speaker would carve out some time in their remarks. Actually, about 75% of their remarks would be allotted to informing us that Orange Man is indeed bad, if you didn't know. So they did tell us that. So that's what we got. Joe Biden is nice. Orange Man is bad. That was the message. Let's go on here. Number 2, reading now from the Daily Wire, says the Chicago Police Department has banned protesters from demonstrating on the block where Mayor Lori Lightfoot lives, ordering officers to arrest anyone who won't leave. The directive surfaced in a July email from then Shakespeare District Commander Melvin Roman to officers under his command. It did not distinguish between the peaceful protester Lightfoot regularly says she supports and those who might intend to be destructive. Chicago police have been blocking access to the area using barricades and police and riot gear. And Lightfoot told reporters on Thursday that she and her family have been receiving threats daily. She says, I think that residents of the city understand the nature of the threats that we are receiving on a daily basis. On a daily basis, understand I have a right to make sure that my home is secure. Right. This is the same woman, you may remember, who banned residents from getting haircuts under threat of imprisonment and then went on and got her own haircut. So this is all par for the course. And the reason for getting the haircut, the reason she gave was that she needed to look good, which, well, no comment on that. But the point is that this is one of the biggest hypocrites in the country. And the hypocrisy here really isn't even funny or ironic or anything. It's just pure evil, in fact. She lets rioters destroy neighborhoods, terrorize residents, do what they want. But oh no, not her house. Not her house. Can't come there. And how does she justify the double standard? In her own mind, how do you think she justifies it? Well, I'll tell you exactly how. She's more important than you. Simple as that. And that is what she believes. And that's how she governs. Let's go number 3, back to the Daily Wire. It says a school district in Tennessee is asking parents to sign a form agreeing not to monitor their children's virtual classrooms over concerns that non-student observers could overhear confidential information. The form, a copy of which was sent to the Tennessee Star, reads, quote, RCS strives to present these opportunities in a secure format that protects student privacy to the greatest extent possible. However, because these meetings will occur virtually, RCS is limited in its ability to fully control certain factors, such as non-student observers that may be present in a home of a student participating in the virtual meeting. The agreement goes on to strongly discourage non-student observation of online meetings due to the potential of confidential information about a student being revealed. The agreement, of course, raised parents' interest, according to the Tennessee Star, particularly given that the agreement implied items of interest might be being discussed in classrooms without parents' knowledge. In an email to parents sent earlier this week, the Rutherford School District said that they are taking parents' concerns under advisement. They said, we are aware of the concern that has been raised about the distance learning letter that was sent out. The intent was not to prevent parents from being involved with their children during distance learning, but it was intended to protect the academic privacy of other students in the classroom who are visible during certain virtual class sessions. Yeah. Listen, you get a letter like that from your school, and I don't know how you react in any other way than just pulling your kid out. Plain and simple. They're confidential information? No, there shouldn't be any confidential information being shared in a classroom. There shouldn't be any information that you as a teacher know about your students that the parents don't know. But like we talked about last week, and we've talked about before, they're just telling on themselves here and what their real agenda is. So you just got to get your kids out of the school. I think it really is that simple. Number 4, the Washington Post reports the Kansas City Chiefs said Thursday that they will prohibit fans from wearing headdresses and Native American-themed face paint to home games at Arrowhead Stadium. The team announced the measures as part of what it calls ongoing dialogue with a group of local leaders from diverse American Indian backgrounds and experiences, and recent consultation with a national organization that works closely on issues affecting American Indian people and tribes. So even though they're the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's their mascot, you're not allowed to dress that way for the home game. Nobody can explain why this is offensive. It's just like assumed now that if you were to dress up as Native American, it's automatically, why? What's offensive about it? If anything, it's honoring a culture. And of course, as many people point out, it's almost nobody worries about this on St. Patrick's Day. People are dressed up like leprechauns, drinking green beer, getting drunk. Like, that's what you do. That's how you celebrate Irish culture. They dress up like a leprechaun and get drunk. Nobody complains. And as a person of Irish ancestry, I don't complain either. It just doesn't bother me. But this somehow is offensive for reasons that are not explained. Okay, 5, finally, big news here. It's being reported that the band BTS has probably broken a record by getting 10 million views on their latest music video in 20 minutes. 10 million in 20 minutes. 10 million people. That's an incredible number for just 20 minutes. Now, I have never heard of the band BTS. This is my first time ever. I don't know what they are. I think they're a boy band. But I think back in but go back to the old days. Way back in ancient times, music videos were aired on, and kids don't know this, they were aired on something called television. There were these things called channels that you would go to. And if you wanted to see a video, you had to just sit and watch the channel all day and hope that they played it. And there would be these things called commercials in between. And it's very similar to the experience you would have. There was also this thing called a radio that you would listen to. And if you wanted to make a mixtape, well, you couldn't download it on the internet because it didn't exist. So what you do is you take a blank, something called a cassette tape, and you put it in this thing called a boombox. And then you just listen to the radio all day. And those of us who were avid mixtape makers like I was, it was, this would be hours long project if you want to make a mixtape and get 10 songs on a tape. But you wait for the song to play. You got your fingers on record. As soon as it plays, boom, you hit record. Sometimes you get a little bit of the commercial beforehand in the recording, but that's fine too. And that's how it worked back then. But now, and so if one music video was going to get 10 million views cumulatively, it would take probably about 19 months for that to happen. And now it happens in a little over 19 minutes. So pretty incredible. But congrats to the guys over there at BTS. Big fan of theirs. I just decided that right now because I'm in touch with the youth of today, of course. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.